We live in a world that is governed by strength. Stephen Miller, Donald Trump's White House Deputy Chief of Staff. Now, recently, Miller got himself in a little bit of hot water with the mainstream media. Not a very difficult thing to do, but here's what Stephen Miller said.
Jake, we live in a world in which you can talk all you want about international niceties and everything else. But we live in a world, in the real world, Jake, that is governed by strength, that is governed by force, that is governed by power. These are the iron laws of the world that have existed since the beginning of time.
So, what Stephen Miller is saying is, since I have more power than you, I can do whatever I want to do to you. Now, this sounds bad. It sounds like a major moral blunder. It sounds like a person who lacks character. It sounds like the thinking of the early settlers, like the way colonizers used to think. But does it jive with power? Does it jive with the political philosophy of he who has the gold makes the rules? Plato was a Greek philosopher. He was a student of Socrates and the teacher of Aristotle. Plato's book, Republic, is the renowned work, the most preeminent philosophical work on justice ever recorded. It speaks on what is a just man, what is a just city-state, and what is the definition of justice. Now, I'm going to read directly from Plato's Republic, and I'm going to read 3 specific quotes that speak directly to the statements of Stephen Miller and how would Plato view the philosophy of Miller. Now, the first statement I would like to read is, how does Plato describe a ruler? He who refuses to rule is liable to be ruled by one who is worse than himself. Now, what does that mean? If you have not decided to put yourself in the arena of political competition, you should just sit down and be ruled by the people who have taken that fight on. If I decided to lead and you decided to sit down, you should not complain about how I'm ruling. Plato gives the power of the ruler to the guy who's ruling, not the complainers, not the media, not the guy sitting in the chair watching the performers. Now, this is the most important single sentence in all of Plato's Republic. Justice is in the interest of the stronger. And what that means is, I'm stronger than you, so I am the decider on what is right and wrong. I am the decider on what it means to be unjust and what it means to be just. My agent at the production of my book warned me about putting moral positionings in my book because morality always changes over time. What is acceptable today may not be acceptable tomorrow, and vice versa. Now, the last part I would like to read of Republic is how Plato breaks down the difference between the citizen and the head of state and the differences with them both. The biggest problem with the citizen is they feel themselves to be equal to the head of state. I can't lie, so why can you? It's wrong to lie. Why should you? Plato takes a position that no, you're a citizen, you're an individual person, and as an individual, you don't have the right to do certain things that impact the populace. But me, I am the head of state. I have to do things that is responsible for the safety of the entire populace. And in essence, Plato gives the right to deceive to the head of state, but believes that the person who is just an individual citizen does not have that same right. And in fact, the king should punish the dishonest citizen, but not the dishonest head of state. If anyone at all is to have the privilege of lying, the rulers of the state should be the persons, and they, in their dealings, either with enemies or with their own citizens, may be allowed to lie for the public good. And although the rulers have this privilege, for a private man to lie to them in return is to be deemed a more heinous fault. Plato, the greatest philosophical mind to ever live, would view Stephen Miller's comments and President Trump's desire to take Greenland as an act of justice. Trump is stronger. The US is stronger. So that, per Plato, gives the US the right to define the meaning of justice and to impose their will upon the world. In Epic 3 of my book, The Don, 36 Rules of the Bosses, I find the same philosophical truth to apply. All men submit to boss. Boss is when you make the rules, enforce the rules, break the rules, and do what you want with the rules. The rules are the boss's jurisdiction. If he breaks them, so be it. The boss is the boss. He is the decider. He is both judge and jury. All men obey the boss's order. What is what the boss decrees. Bad is good, if so the boss says it is. The boss is justice, even when he is wrong. The boss is justice, even when he is wrong. What do you guys think? I'm RJ Roger. I am the author of The Don, 36 Rules of the Bosses. It's in stores now. Please support the book. Peace and love, and I'll see you next week.